A new season is upon us. The Habs and the Leafs are going to be starting on Wednesday night at 7:30 at the Scotiabank Arena in Toronto. So the Habs are away for the first 3 games of the season, and the Leafs start at home. Last year, the Habs started at home against the Leafs, so it's a little bit of the opposite this year, and that's what we see this year. So both teams are different from last year in different ways. The Habs, on paper, feel like they've gotten better. The Leafs lost a 100-point guy in Mitch Marner, but they feel like they've added guys in their top 6, in their bottom 6, to make sure that they can be contenders if they think they are. But we'll see what they got. You never know. It's going to be a very interesting team if you're a Habs fan or not. It's very going to be interesting. What does the Leafs do this year? The Leafs play Montreal. Then on Saturday they play Detroit. In Detroit. Then on Monday they play Detroit. And then Tuesday they play Nashville. So to give you a little idea what the Maple Leafs are going to be doing the next couple of days, or the next couple of games, I should say. And then Montreal, of course, Toronto on Wednesday. Back-to-back games on Thursday in Detroit. Then on Saturday in Chicago against the Hawks. And then on Tuesday is the home opener for the Habs against the Seattle Kraken. So that is the next few games for both teams, as you can see. So let's get right into our first game of the season for both teams here. Starting off with the Habs, we see that the Habs feel like they're a better team this year. Definitely is a possibility that they can absolutely show that they can make the playoffs for sure. We'll see that happens. Never know. Things do come up. Absolutely. But looking at our first line, basically this is what we're going to have. Things might change, especially through the game. Lineups do change. But I thought I'd make the video now for Wednesday. Or I should say tomorrow. First lineup. For the first line, you got Caulfield, Suzuki, Slafkovsky. That is your first line. Things do not change at that standpoint at all. That first line is fantastic last year, and you're just going to keep it together again to start the year at least, because they've just been so good. Between Suzuki's playmaking, Caulfield, his shot, Slafkovsky, kind of that power forward, but also has a good shot as well. Look at our second line. A bit different between our second and third line. You got Alex Newhook, you have Oliver Capitan, and you have Ivan Demidov. And that's what we have. You got some speed, you got some skill down the middle with Capitan, and you also have Demidov with his puck moving ability, his hands in tight. Same thing with Capitan. He can also do that as well. But Demidov, we know what he does with his playmaking ability. It's a very interesting line. You got speed and you got skill. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. Does it work? Does it not? I know preseason showing a little bit of it, but you just have to see how it works in the regular season, because teams use different players. They don't actually sometimes use the guys going to make the team as well, right? So now, this is it. Regular season starts, right? So our third line, very balanced here. You got down the middle, Kirby Dach with Zachary Bolzuk, and you got Brendan Gallagher. So you got some skill, you got some playmaking. Also, Kirby Dach, we'll see what he has. He had a very good preseason, which is good to see. And they have Gallagher, the workhorse, doing his thing in front of the net as well. We all know what Gallagher can do. Bolzuk also has a great shot. We definitely know what he can do with that shot. And we'll see how that goes. The second and third line, things are really producing at all for the Habs. So those two lines, we can see them get mixed up. Even the fourth line as well. With Patrick Laine on the wing, Jake Evans down the middle, and Josh Anderson on the right wing. So you got Patrick Laine's shot. You have Jake Evans who could win faceoff. He's a responsible center. And you got Josh Anderson, speed as well. So maybe that will help Patrick Laine. Josh Anderson with his speed. Laine is on the slower side. it can kind of complement. We'll see how that works out. So, very interesting that we have that for the Habs. We'll see what they have. See if those work. Like I said, things can change. Do we see Line back in the top six? We can absolutely see that, but he'll be on the top power play unit or the second power play unit because both power play units are going to be very solid. Looking at our defense pairings, we have Matheson and Dobson. Not my favorite defense pairings to start the top defense off, but both guys can have trouble on defense. But hey, we'll see how it works. Start the season with those two guys, and things can always be changed. Now you have two left shot guys here down on the middle. In the second pairing with Caden Gooley and Lane Hudson. We know what Lane Hudson can do. We know what Caden Gooley can do. Both are phenomenal. Forgot to say Noah Dobson, of course. We know his shot. Mike Matheson has great skating ability. And our third pairing, Albert Jacki, the tough guy on the bottom pairing there with Alexander Carrier, who can shoot the puck as well, but also very good defensively. So it kind of rounds out that defense that we have. Things could definitely change. You could see Matheson more on that bottom pairing. You could see Gooley move up. You could have Carrier move on that second line with Hudson. Things could change, but this is what we got, like I said. So we'll see how that works out for sure. Now moving on to the Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs, like I said, a different lineup from last year. Looks different without Mitch Marner, right? So our first lineup, we got our first line, Matthew Knies with Austin Matthews and Matias Maccelli from Utah. Mammoth, he's now a Toronto Maple Leafs and was with the Arizona Coyotes as well, right? So Matthew Knies, he had a solid rookie season. Now he's going to be playing with Austin Matthews, and Maccelli can also be feeding Matthews with that puck. Maccelli did not have a good year last year, but 2 years beforehand, he had some very solid numbers. So they're hoping that he can bounce back and have a very good second or first year with the Maple Leafs, I should say. Second lineup, we have is Bobby McCann with John Tavares and William Nylander. Very interesting there. On the left side, I feel a little on the weaker side, but we all know what Tavares can do. Good two-way center. William Nylander on the wing now. Very good. And then down the middle, you have Max Domi, Nicholas Robertson, and Dakota Joshua. You got some sandpaper there with Domi and Joshua. Robertson has more of that shot. He hasn't been able to get that full-time role with the Maple Leafs the last, actually, it feels like a few years, right? Couple years. But now he's going to have this opportunity to really try to show what he's got and really who he is. And then our fourth line is Stephen Lawrence with Nicholas Waugh and Callie Youngkirk. I don't know why I couldn't say that name. Callie Youngkirk. So that's a really good fourth line there. Joshua, why do I say Joshua? Nicholas Waugh. Joshua Waugh is the Habs prospect. But Nicholas Waugh definitely could be great down the middle, win faceoffs, big guy. Definitely could work out for the Maple Leafs, absolutely, in that Maple Leafs and Vegas Golden Knights trade, right? Then you have the defense pairings with Morgan Riley and Brandon Carlo. Carlo's a shutdown guy. Riley could be more of a puck-moving, but two-way guy. Then you have Chris Tanev, shutdown guy with McCabe, Arthur Ekman-Lawson, and Simon Benoit. So those are guys right there. That's probably the best defensive pairings last year, this year you're ever going to get from the Maple Leafs, because they were all about skill, right? With Tyler Dubas now, you have Brad Treliving coming in a little bit different. You have Craig Berube as the coach. So we'll see how that works out for them. And in goal, most likely for the Habs, it's Samuel Montembeault and it's Anthony Stolarz, unless we have some injuries that we do not know about. But that is what we have. Just to give a side note, Zachary Bolzuk looks like he'll be ready for the start of the season. I know that he was day-to-day with a lower body injury, but it looks like he will be ready to go opening night with which is good to see. The Habs did lose Sammy Blais off of waivers to the Toronto Maple Leafs, so maybe he makes that lineup. And you also have Canadiens Primo, who is a former Hab, will be the backup to Anthony Stolarz most likely. But very interesting that Canadiens Primo will be a Maple Leaf. It'll be very interesting to see that because he didn't have a chance to play with the Hurricanes at all, right? So let me know your thoughts. Who's going to win this? This is going to be a tough game. Low scoring, probably. But, you have two solid goalies in Montembeault and Stolarz. Stolarz, the big goalie. Montembeault is big as well. Can move in his crease pretty well and can make some big saves for the Habs when needed. Absolutely. So let me know your thoughts. First game of the night. For season, right? For this year. So we'll see how it goes. And this NHL News Reports. Bye.